Hey friends, is there the mind control guy? It's September 10th, 2021. In less than an hour it'll be September 11th, 2021. 20 years after 9/11 to the date. I've been listening to a radio show a little bit ago on Sirius XM, lady Stacy on the right. They're asking folks, where were you when 9/11 happened? Well, as for me, I was right here in the cab of a truck, not this one, a different one. I was between Nashville and Memphis. And next thing you know, I heard on the radio, and there was a radio station at the flagship stations out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Morning drive. It was called Bob and Tom Show. They've been around for forever, a long time. Bob, of course, he retired back in 2015. But we heard the first report, and we're like, damn, that's messed up. But of course, planes have crashed into the building before. I mean, the one that happened back in the 30s and crashed into the Empire State Building. And then all of a sudden, another one crashed. We're like, uh-oh. Then we heard about the thing in the Pentagon. It's like, okay, here we go. Of course, there's all kinds of theories, plus or minus, about what really crashed. I mean, I remember we recorded footage the day it happened, and somebody had a under view of one of the planes, the big plane that crashed into the Twin Towers. Somebody had their camera and looked straight up like that, right into it. And you didn't see any windows. Folks kind of wonder, was it a regular passenger plane with no windows? Or was it a monster-sized drone? Who knows? But anyway, let's say in just a little bit it'll be the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And people's asking, where were you? And all this kind of stuff. Well, I really wanted to talk about something else, and that is some years back when Obama was running for his second term. Now, this is over 8 years ago. Okay, this is well over 8 years ago. Obama was running for his second term. And that was back when I still used to be on Facebook before I left. So I got tired of all their PC BS. Anyway, there was a question going around a lot of social media about possibly another secession of various states of the Union because they were sick and damn tired of these leftist presidents. Well, now we got this douchebag Biden in office, and they're talking about, basically, forcing companies to force their people to either, take the shot or get kicked to the curb. And they got some of these governors that are telling them, go to hell. We ain't doing it. And so now I'm kind of thinking, I wonder with all this buildup of this shot being pushed and pushed and pushed. See, if I use the V word, they'll cancel my video like they did here a while back because I said the V word. But I'm kind of wondering, the more that this thing gets pushed and pushed and pushed, and people of all categories are fed the hell up with it. Because when they get people that, they've had their shot, they've had a second, they've had a third. Across the pond over in Israel, they talk about having a fourth. There's people who are fully V'd, and they're still getting the Rona. And I'm thinking, well, obviously, it doesn't work. But now what I'm thinking is we've heard for a long time. Now, I I've been a right-winger for over 35 years, ever since I was in the service. I'm 55, I'll be 56 in a couple months, in November. And I've been far right for over 35 years. And there's a lot of different flavors and variations of what they might call far right. You know, people think, oh, you're far right, you hate everybody, it's not your skin color. Oh, shit, no we don't. In fact, a lot of folks have had to think about putting it in perspective. People have been in various, far right groups about putting things in perspective. What is it that they don't like? And you find out that, far right people and others who are nationalists of whatever ethnicity they might be have a lot more in common than people think. Like, for one thing, me being far right, let me tell you what, I like working folks. I like working people. And I say that all the time when I do business somewhere. At a restaurant, at a gas station, convenience store, wherever. See, working people make this country happen, and unfortunately, freeloaders are bleeding it dry. I don't care what shade skin color you are. You're working people, you're all right. You get up every day and you go to work, and whether you use your college skills or your trade skills, or your skills you learned on the farm or the ranch or any of that, hey, you get up, you go to work every day, hey, you're all right in my book. These people want to sit on their ass and just go, they don't want to work for nothing. I ain't got no use for all these dirtbags. Now, I'm not talking about those that work for 30, 40 years and retired, that earned their retirement. I ain't talking about them. So don't screw this up. I'm not talking about people who worked all these years and retired and earned the right to retire. I'm talking about those that, they come into these grocery stores dressed to the nines, got $300 hairdo, $400 or $500 worth of clothes, nail slicks, got bling all over the place, fancy shoes, driving up in an Escalade or some other fancy car, got 2 carts in this hand, 2 carts in this hand, they're pulling them behind them, load them up with all the good stuff, tri-tip, prime rib, ribeye, lobster, just got 4 carts overflowing with all kinds of grub. And then they show up at the cash register, whip out 4 or 5 EBT cards with $1,800 on each one, which working folks over at the Food for Less up in Chicago, where I used to deliver some of those stores, they told me they had seen it with their own hands. And the people that told me this, that worked at those stores, they're the same shade as my shirt and my hat. So people don't need to play the damn crybaby race card, because there's folks of all shades that get up there, get out and work their ass off, and they refuse welfare. Okay, so let's just get that crybaby BS out of the way right now. And when those folks who are the same shade as my shirt and hat that worked at these stores, that told me they witnessed this with their own eyes, that people come up, describe, just like I said, 4 carts full, whip out 4 or 5 EBT cards, $1,800 on each one, and then turn around and has the audacity to say work is for suckers that don't know how to work the system. You know what? Those folks that work there, that say, you know what? You're individuals like you make it hard on the rest of us. We've done everything we can to get rid of them stereotypes, and here you keep reinforcing them. They got people out there just as white as I am, but just nothing but worthless, sorry-ass white trash, and I ain't got no use for them either. I don't care if they got long hair or tattoos, or they're, clean cut and got a 3-piece suit. If you're a dirtbag, you're a dirtbag. Dirtbags come in all flavors. Dirtbags come in all shades. And, it's irritating. But back to what I was saying. Is it remotely possible, because of this shot that's being pushed right now? Now, people wanting to wear a mask and trying to force employers to comply, private sector employers to comply, and, threaten people with their job. Maybe it'll come down to threaten to take people's driver's license, threaten to seize their bank account, all the crooked crap that these elitist politicians do. And I wonder, because it's been talked about for decades. When I was far right for a long time, it was talked about back in the 80s. It was talked about in the 90s. And when Obama, when he was going up for re-election, it was talked about then, 8 years ago, over 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago. Is there going to be states that secede? Because theoretically, each individual state in the United States is its own country. They call it United States. What's going to happen when it becomes divided states? Independent states. Folks that say we're sick and tired of Washington telling us what to do. We're sick and damn tired of Washington politicians telling the rest of us what to do. You can't do this and you can't do that. You know what? I would not be surprised, as much as this BS is being pushed right now, if it's going to come down to where a lot of these states are going to secede and end up their own independent countries. They might network with each other, but tell the federals, tell Washington, get the hell out of here. You show up with some ink on a piece of paper, waving it around like you got all these rights, you might be wearing silver bracelets behind your back. And get the hell out of here. We don't recognize your authority anymore. I keep wondering if it's going to come down to that, because of how much this BS is being pushed. People are sick of it. Small companies, businesses had to shut down, go out of business. At the same time, you got those meatheads from Antifa and BLM wanting to go in certain areas and riot and burn down towns every night. And yet they're like, yeah, so? Huh? You got these damn out-of-control gangs that just terrorize entire communities and have for decades. People who's all pissed off saying, oh, Trump wants to get rid of the immigrants. Trump, just like regular working stiffs like myself, was sick and tired of the criminal element coming across the borders like MS-13. They're sick and tired of gangs. People, the nation over, are sick to damn death of gangs, thugs, and the criminal element. Whether you're a street gang, a suit and tie gang, car gang, bike gang, whatever. People are sick and tired of the criminal element of all flavors in this country. And every country for that matter. I mean, there's folks of all walks of life, there's folks of all shades. They come here for a better life, and they end up in a damn neighborhood, and you got the same damn gangster, terrorist, dirtbags that they did back in their homeland. People are fed up. How about having open season on gangsters? There's a novel idea. Or when the boys with the hardware and law enforcement get a hold of these damn gang members and other assorted thugs, how about just do it like a black ops mission? Every time you catch one of these SOBs, you know exactly who they are. They got a revolving door in the local jail cell. Just start taking these dirt bags, loading them up on these ships, not exotic ships, more like prison ships. Plastic strip their ass, take them a couple hundred miles out to sea, pitch them overboard. Maybe tie a little hamburger or raw bloody steak around their ankles before you pitch them overboard. Let the sharks have them. A lot of these gangs of all calibers have done enough terrorizing of various communities in this country, and it's nothing but domestic terrorism. Gang thugs of every shade is nothing but domestic terrorism. There was a Mexican police chief over in Oxnard, California around the turn of the millennium. I'm thinking his name was Lopez, I think is what his name was. And in reference to the gangs in Oxnard, California, he said what everybody else was too scared to say, because the PC police would have jumped all over. But the Mexican police chief out there point blank said, in reference to the gangs, and there was about, at least at that time, about 45 gangs in Oxnard, and he said point blank, this is nothing but domestic terrorism. He said what needed to be said. Hats off to the chief. You know, because anybody that looked like me that would have said the same thing, oh, the PC police would have been all over. You know, guy or gal might have been forced to resign for saying what needed to be said. Well, Howard, you know, Oxnard was about 98% Mexican. So how in the world are they, or you know, all those Mexican gangs? And I ain't talking about the hard-working Mexican folks of Oxnard. I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about the thugs. I'm talking about the gangs. How are the damn gangs of people of that element say he ain't nothing but a racist cop when he's just as brown as they are? People like to forget that. But the way things have been going in this country for many years, I'm kind of wondering if it's going to end up coming down to, you know, some of the governors and state legislatures and people are maybe going to start talking about seceding. Telling Biden, take your damn, take your shot, stick it up your ass, because you're not going to stick it in my body. A few months ago, my sister-in-law, against other people's warning, took it, and 2 days later she was dead. So anyway, I had a lot to say. I could probably have a lot more to say. I'll try to get focused on this here road. I'm going over to Peoria tonight. Friday night, there's still a lot of traffic out. Hell, it's after 11 at night. Still a lot of traffic out. And everybody's wondering, is there going to be something happen tomorrow on the 20th anniversary of 9/11? Take care, friends. Be vigilant. Think about everything I've said. I had a lot to say on various topics. So think about it. Take care of yourself. And like I said, regardless of what category you are, regardless of what shade you are, you're working people, you're all right in my book. Take care.